Everybody was still, I looked back after it went off, the guys were still good. We kept fighting, started to run low on ammo, so we came out of the house. As I came out of the house, there was a Marine staggering out of the yard, the neighboring yard from the house next door. He looked like a zombie. He was covered in blood, and he was not, not doing well. He just fell over. I grabbed him, and I started dragging him down the street to the casualty collection area where the corpsmen were working on Marines. As I'm dragging him, they were shooting at us. Got him down there. We got our ammo. We ran back into the house, went back in. Same deal, we got up there, we're fighting back and forth, except this time I didn't have eyes on the Marines. I didn't know if the insurgents had come out and drugged these Marines into the bedroom with them. I didn't know what was going on, but we're fighting. And I tell this story about a 34-year-old Marine from the Bronx that joined the Marine Corps after September 11th, a guy by the name of Philip Levine. We were fighting back and forth. A lot of automatic gunfire, and I just hear Levine, that thick New York accent. Even over the gunfire, I could hear it. I heard him scream, and I looked back, and his arm was literally kind of dangling, and I kind of froze. It felt like I stopped for a couple minutes, but when I looked back, I saw this Marine that really didn't have any use of his arm. And I saw him trying to raise his rifle up with one arm to continue firing. And that moment right there, that's part of the reason why I'm still a Marine. Because seeing what other Marines were doing, that motivated me so much to keep going, because at that point in time, it was getting pretty ugly in that house. I had to get Levine out of the house, so we left again. We got Levine down there, the corpsman wrapped him up. He had a cigarette in his mouth, and he was trying to steal my pistol so he could go back into the house. Every Marine that walked by that had a pistol, he wanted their pistol because he could still fire it with one hand. And I think that says a lot about the man and the type of Marines that we have today. We went back in. Well, actually, as I was getting more ammo, I was going to run back into the house. I looked in the back of the Humvee, and there were two Marines laying in the back of the Humvee. Eric, he's like, no, he's good. Okay. So I'm standing there. I was trying to get down and listen to see if he was breathing, but I was shaking. I couldn't really tell. And I looked at the corpsman again. I said, Doc, get the hell over here. And he goes, Workman, he's dead, man, he's dead. And it was like somebody flipped a switch on him. I just became enraged, and I wanted to personally go back into the house and eliminate these insurgents one by one. So I grabbed whoever was standing around. I ran back into the house. I went through every mag, I think 16 mags of M16, 10 mags of AK-47, and threw about 20 hand grenades. And the insurgents, it was really strange. Inside this house, there were so many grenades and so much fire going back and forth that it became black. It was dark in there, and all the smoke. And the insurgents were starting to come out of this bedroom, and it was so creepy. You couldn't really see their whole body, but you could see their beards and their faces moving through the smoke. That's something I'll never forget. That was really spooky. But another grenade came out and exploded, kind of knocked us down. And I just remember my buddy Sergeant Kraft handed me a grenade, and I said, it seemed like nothing we were doing was stopping these guys. I was starting to wonder where these guys were coming from. We're talking 2 hours now, of continuous fighting with these guys. I thought I was dying. I tell people, I was looking through a straw, and it was getting smaller and smaller. And I figured if I'm going to go out in a blaze of glory. So when Kraft handed me the grenade, I pulled the pin on the grenade, and I was going to run into the bedroom and detonate myself in this room. And I took one step with this grenade and almost got my legs sawed off. And Kraft pulled me back. And thank God he did, because if I would have taken one more step, I would have been shot right there on the spot and dropped the grenade on my own guys. But the Battalion XO was there. I remember when that third grenade came out, I don't know if I was feeling sorry for myself or what, but I was done at that point in time. I leaned up against the wall on the staircase. Guys were like stepping over me to try to get up so they could continue fighting. And I thought about my mother, and I thought about my wife, and I thought that was it. And, that's all I saw. And then I woke up to my Major de Grossier, like, slapping me in the face. And he grabbed me by my helmet, and he drugged me out of the house. And, that was it. He pulled me out of the house. He threw one last grenade up into the top. We had accountability for all the Marines. They needed a sniper to go up to an elevated position and take a look around. They needed an escort for the sniper, so I volunteered to do that, me and Kraft. Like the colonel said, the streets were very small. At this point, you have a tank sitting in front of this house blowing its main gun at point blank range, and they're still up there fighting. But when the tank was sitting in the street and its turret was turned, it was over top of the sidewalk. So as I'm escorting the sniper and I duck underneath the turret of this tank, it fired its main gun. I thought that was worse than any of the 3 grenades in the house. I just remember laying there thinking, wow, for 3 days, all I heard was that damn, that tank in my ear. But we took him up there. It seemed like we were up there for 2 days. I was throwing up, I was bleeding. And he said, hey, we're done. I said, let's go. And that was it. That was my 3 hours in the Battle of Fallujah that's changed my life. And has really opened my eyes. And I can say that, I feel bad sometimes because I've only been to Iraq one time. But I'm just thankful that the one time that I did get to go was I could take part in the Battle of Fallujah. And just do my part, and I can honestly say that the Marines, some of the things that I witnessed, there's not enough awards to go around. These Marines did some pretty heroic things. I will always tell Philip Levine's story because that has made an impact on my life. I think about it every day. This guy is missing his arm, and he's still trying to kill these guys. He's putting his brothers before himself. So I don't want to take up any more time, but I'm just proud to be a Marine. I was glad that I had the opportunity to be a part of the Battle of Fallujah. Thanks.
If I might offer just a couple of comments. Sean Workman earned the Navy Cross for his heroism, and it was like the phrase from Iwo Jima, where uncommon valor was a common virtue. It really was that way there, and I don't know if you can put a value on the repeated dynamic entries of all these homes in the dark, never knowing what's behind the next door. And the people we faced there was drugs everywhere. There were syringes, large amounts of adrenaline and other amphetamine-type drugs were recovered from the battlefield. And many Marines commented, emptying magazines into insurgents who kept coming. It was more than fanaticism. There was a lot of them on drugs out there. And I think the biggest takeaway is that no one wants to ever let his buddy down. That's the biggest fear, or leave someone behind in a house or in a room. Sir, David, you're on.